Imagine living in a world where the polar ice caps have melted. This extra water has ended up raising the sea levels by 216 feet and has dramatically altered the world around us. Many large and iconic cities are crushed beneath the rising tides. New York, Los Angeles, and all of Florida is now entirely underwater. The entire Netherlands is submerged, along with many major European cities. Lands currently occupied by 600 million Chinese would be uninhabitable, stuck beneath the waves. These sites are based off research done by National Geographic, and the loss of currently coastal land is only the start of what will happen if global warming continues to worsen. Today, I'm going to talk to you about the crisis that is affecting our planet and what we can do to stop it. To start with, let's define global warming and learn why it's currently a problem for all of us. First off, what is global warming, also known as climate change? Well, over the past 50 years, the global average temperature has increased at the fastest rate ever recorded, and it is continuing to accelerate. This entire process is what is known as global warming. Um, Now, the evidence we have that this is happening, first off, there is the average global temperature rise. As this evidence is reported by NASA, there's the global temperature rise, which has been going on for a while, specifically since the Industrial Revolution, and has really kicked up in modern times. There's also the warming of oceans. Oceans have gotten warmer, which is um, very measurable. And there's also the shrinking ice sheets and glaciers. A lot of ice around the polar regions is getting smaller and smaller as the heat rises. Uh, so, what effects does it have, and what effects will it have in the future? Well, as global warming continues, temperatures will continue to rise more and more, and that will and various things will happen from that. Seasons will extend and lengthen. We'll have longer springs and summers, shorter winters and falls, and that's going to adversely affect a lot of our natural ecosystems. We're going to have changes in rain patterns. We're going to have more flooding, which is going to be rough for anyone in the outdoors. And continuing, we're going to have a lot of droughts and heat waves in places that are already susceptible for them. Places that are already hot and dry, they're just going to get hotter and drier. Hurricanes will be far more severe. Continuing the current pattern, it's just going to continue to get worse. And as we talked about before, sea levels will rise. Specifically, according to NASA, for the Midwest, we will have extreme heat, heavy downpours, and flooding will be the common things in these areas. So, what causes? So now that we know the effects and the consequences of this, what actually causes global warming? Well, the main thing to know about is the greenhouse effect. When carbon dioxide and other pollutants known as greenhouse gases escape from the planet into the atmosphere, they subsist in there for a while before they escape out into space. Now, if a lot of them are in the atmosphere, that weakens the atmosphere's ability to protect us from the heat of the sun. And that will get worse and worse as time goes on. And the more we have in there and the longer they're in there, the worse the atmosphere is at protecting us. And the role of humans in all this, these increases in greenhouse gases and CO2 can be largely chalked up to human involvement, human inventions, and other types of things using fossil fuels mainly release a lot of greenhouse gas into the atmosphere. And scientists are at a very strong agreement that this is a human-caused issue. So, and one thing that's often thought about is like, what about the sun? Is the sun just getting hotter? But no, there's been plenty of research into it. The sun really hasn't changed. It has an 11-year cycle that it sticks to, where it kind of gets hotter and colder, and that hasn't changed significantly. But there has been other significant changes that have caused these effects. So finally, let's talk about ways that both individuals and societies can work towards countering the effects of climate change. So, I mean, what can we do about it? This is a very big problem, and it affects the entire Earth. It seems a lot more than something that just average people can help with. But in reality, when we all work together, we can make very major changes. So, just as an individual person, lowering your own carbon footprint can make a big change because you're one of many, and that can make large scale effects throughout the world. You know, so lowering your carbon footprint is generally, not doing as many things that create these greenhouse gases. One of the large creators of greenhouse gases is flying planes and automobiles, planes, trains, and automobiles. Those are things that you can avoid doing. You can carpool so it's not used as much. This current crisis is very good for that kind of thing. A lot less people driving around and flying. Another option is to eat less beef. I like beef as much as probably more than the next guy, but cows do release a lot of methane. They do cause a lot of that to get out in the atmosphere, and that is a major greenhouse gas. There's also just informing others and being part of group activities. There's plenty of marches for climate change and and stuff like that. Um, now, beyond just what individuals can do, there are things that countries can do. Whole countries and country leaders, things country leaders can do. Country leaders and politicians can encourage the use of alternative fuels and energy. There are plenty of subsidies and grants that can be given to encourage more green energy to be used, renewable energy, and the like. They can also commit to lowering their own output of greenhouse gases. Stuff like the Paris Climate Deal are good options for that stuff. So now that I've talked with you about what climate change is and what causes it, what we can do to stop it, let's just look at what so let me just conclude on that. So global warming is a large-scale disaster that is slowly destroying many parts of our planet, but it's not unconquerable. Together, we as countries and as individuals can work together to help protect this planet and its inhabitants from the negative effects of this phenomenon. Thank you.